Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time once again for Closing the Wealth Gap. The one show, maybe the only show that shows you how to close the wealth gap in your own life with the man who's done it for many, our wealth coach himself, Tyrone French. Hey, Tyrone.
Hey, Paul, great introduction, buddy. I'm looking forward to this show. And, the first thing I need to do is give a shout out to my sponsor, Long Beach BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Hey, give them a call, Google them, check them out. Been a client of theirs for ages. When I go into that dealership, they treat me like a king. So Long Beach BMW, give them a call. Also, I want to put a disclaimer out there that this show is not about giving out investment advice. What we do is provide information for educational purposes. So what I'd like you to do is reach out to your financial advisor, your financial consultant in your area, make sure they're licensed and competent, and get the information that you need that's specific to your geographical area. That being said, I'm excited about today's show. A lot of times people go into a business or a small business venture, and the reason a lot of businesses fall or they fail is because they're undercapitalized. And they start out behind the eight ball, and they're constantly, for years, they're trying to catch up. And we got a guest today, Rene Soule. I call him Bishop, but
Rene.
So we're gonna stick with Rene. Rene is a master at getting people capitalized, and we put the emphasis on small business, but even personal. Because even your personal lifestyle, your personal home is a business. And so, Rene, I'm going to have you jump in here. I'm going to have you introduce yourself. I'm going to have you talk about your business, and then we'll get into some of the problems and solutions as far as people being able to capitalize their business. So you have the floor.
Hey, great, Tyrone. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you and the listening audience. And I'm really excited about this new business venture that God brought to me. And I say that because I didn't even know it existed. And one of my business partners, his wife, found it. And hhis wife told my business partner to call me because she knew I had a financial background. So let me put a plug. Listen to your wife.
Oh. Hey, happy wife, happy life.
Yes, sir.
That's my philosophy.
So I finally, told Marcel. Marcel called me and I said, well, wait a minute. Let me look at this because you hear so many things out here today. And there's so many scams. Good grief.
Right.
There's just so many scams. And so, I said, well, let me check it out. Let me go to the webinar. Let me research the company, see what their history is, see if they have an electronic footprint. And they're in the business market. They're in Forbes, they're in Entrepreneur Magazine. They're a best kept secret. Okay.
Well, I tell you what, let's kind of put it in reverse just a little bit, and let my audience know basically who you are, based on Rene Soule, an associate. What do you do? What services do you provide to the community? Because I know that your service first. The money, the money comes, but you're a servant first. And I just want to know what are the products and the services that you bring to the marketplace to help people?
So first of all, it's Soule, good old Cajun name, Rene Soule from the Bayou, out of New Orleans area, and our service is what starts businesses. I'm an equity-centered consulting firm. And what that means is my focus is to create businesses.
Okay.
Create businesses that can thrive and survive. So I help with your LLC, your operating agreement. If you're a nonprofit, I help with your 501c3, your registration with the Secretary of State. I even help you with getting your board together because it's very critical. A nonprofit understands the board role. Yeah. So that's my space in small business that I've operated in. And then my other passion is housing. I was a mortgage counselor for 2 years, and I can't tell you the number of people I've seen who got qualified for loans, but they couldn't find product.
Yes.
There was no affordable housing, and that is everywhere in the United States. There's no affordable housing for mainstream middle income people. Okay.
Incredible.
And so that's a space that I work with. I'm board chair of Liberty Restoration. I always want to give back to my community. And so through Liberty Restoration, I'm able to affect helping people become homeowners. And then hopefully in 22, we get out of this quagmire we're in. We can start building some affordable quality housing for people, because the fact is what they're paying for rent, they can own.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So why pay somebody else's mortgage and they get the equity?
Exactly. But at the same time, though, people need to really understand that even though you have this mortgage, you have this home, it has to be ran like a business. Because again, I see both sides, and it's almost like somebody will put themselves in a position where they're a homeowner, but then all of a sudden they'll lose a home, or they'll find themselves, they're in a position where they're still transitioning and things like that. So like I said, I see both sides, where for some people, based on their philosophy, their lifestyle, it's better for them to rent, use that business, use that place, that homestead, as a place of business where they can receive certain tax advantages for renting. And then some people, absolutely, they're better off, owning property and owning as much property as they can. But it starts with this mindset and getting the right information based on, it's almost like wearing a suit. You're going into a store and you got this suit on the rack and it's one size fit all. Well, some people don't have that mentality based on the one size fit all. They want a custom look, And so it's the same thing with finance. Sometimes people, they'll invest in the 401ks or the IRAs, and they'll do the traditional things that other people are doing. But then there's other people that want to specialize. And I get that. So you need consultants and counselors that can evaluate somebody's situation and tell them, and them telling you exactly, this is where I want to be. Okay, well, based on your mindset and your commitment, your stick-to-itiveness, and your overall financial goals and ideas, this is the path that you should be on. And sometimes people need to take baby steps. They just need to, start the process, but don't despise small beginnings, and every positive step that you take, it compounds over time. So then we start looking at somebody's time horizon as far as, well, how soon or how quickly do you want to put certain things in place? And so I get it by what you're saying as far as hopefully in 2022, like you said, based on product, and there'll be some other alternatives out there. Like I'm looking at even with the miniature size homes now, tiny homes.
Yes.
Looking at container homes. A lot of stuff is coming on the market right now to whereas people can take that first step into home ownership. And we're also looking at a lot of corporations. A lot of corporations are buying up this real estate.
Right.
So yeah, people just need to get a better understanding as to what the geography is right now and where the landmines are, and what the path that they need to take to make sure that they start properly, but also they finish properly. And what I mean by that is like going your whole lifestyle or your entire lifetime, accumulating all this stuff just to give it away at the end of your life cycle.
So you nailed it, and that is the challenge. But one key term you used, counsel.
Yes.
We counsel the individual before they come a homeowner.
Yes.
And we teach them about debt to income ratio.
Yes.
We teach them about needs versus want.
Yes.
We teach them about paying themselves first, because there has to be a lifestyle change. We teach them that you cannot call the landlord anymore for repairs. You have to repair.
Yes. Yes.
So we educate them, and through that process, some people get it quicker, some people it takes longer. Yes. But whatever time frame it takes, we make sure that when we say you're okay for a loan, that you have that mindset, you have that, and then there's always some things that you can't control, like COVID. Okay?
Yes, exactly.
There's always going to be some things out of your control, but again, if you learn to pay yourself, then you have reserves that can maybe hold you over if it's not something as extensive as this.
Absolutely.
Right.
I like what you said too about a need versus a want. People tend to buy the things that they need, but people have to be sold on the things that they want. And what I mean by that is that want has to become a need. It's almost like most people don't want to buy life insurance, or they get a piece of property, and they don't want to buy mortgage insurance to insure the property just in case because let's say they qualify for this home with 2 incomes, and all of a sudden there's a death in the family and you lose one of those incomes. You need to have something in place that's going to replace that income. And so mortgage insurance is something that is a really pretty good product as far as taking care of that loss. But if it's not a need, then it's still a want. And so you have to turn that want into a need and show people and educate people as to this is why you would need certain vehicles to make sure that you have that financial longevity, if that makes sense.
Right. Oh, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's what we do. I am community oriented. When I say equity centered, I don't want people to think I'm all about money, because I'm not. What I am about is setting up people to be successful.
Yes.
And successful is more than just getting the keys to the house. Like
absolutely.
It's keeping the house, okay, and paying it off before the mortgage, timeline, whether it's a 15 or 30. And many people don't know about 15-year mortgages. They only look at 30.
Exactly. Well, I know a few months ago, you guys had some pretty bad weather out there.
Oh, did
but I know that what you did or what you do, you actually was helping in the community as far as mobilizing the community. I want you to speak on that a little bit.
Well, it was, first of all, everybody know what happened during Hurricane Katrina, and it was horrible. Well, this summer we had Ida, and Ida let her hair down. Hurricane Ida was just as bad as Katrina, except Katrina was water.
Right.
Ida was wind.
Yes.
Okay. And it was devastating. And so we, were out, galvanizing community, galvanizing faith-based leaders, helping people understand what they need to do to get access to resources, whether it's FEMA, whether it's state resources, bringing folks in, whether it's removing debris, getting with our local elected officials and seeing what they have in place. So it's a team effort, and I'm glad to be part of that. I was fortunate, very, very fortunate. I say blessed, because we didn't have much damage. We did lose power for 15 days now.
Wow.
In the tech world,
that's an eternity.
If you and I got 3 systems sitting here in front of me, okay? so that can be real cold turkey. Okay,
yes,
15 days, I'll be climbing the wall. And then we had no internet for 21 days.
Wow.
It was bad. We had over 40 states send electrical trucks to help us get back online.
Incredible.
So it was, and we're still working through, especially the places in the lower Gulf that are close to the Gulf of Mexico, south of I-10, because 10 runs all the way over to your area, San Diego to Jacksonville. Yes. And so it was devastating. But what was worse is that we had 2 hurricanes last year. Now they hit the western part of the state, and people are still recovering from that.
Wow.
And so we have had our share. And I've been here 15 years now. And the last 2 years were the most devastating hurricanes I saw. I wasn't here during Katrina. I came after, but I've been through, 4 or 5. They weren't bad, but whew.
Yes.
So yeah.
And the reason I brought that up is because a lot of times, again, when people talk about business or their personal lives, they get the rosy story. How the happy ever after, and they never anticipate something can go wrong. And so I like, the reason I like your platform is because you're able to help people in good times and in bad times.
Yes.
And so let's talk about how, again, the recovery. Well, I tell you what, let's talk about how you're able to help small business owners to start their business, to weather the storms based on these cycles, feast and famine, right. And also how that small business owner can have that happy ending, that ride into the sunset and focus on that generational wealth.
Well, I'm glad you said that. And one of the things I do when I create businesses and I'm talking to new business owners and helping them work through, whatever they're doing. I read years ago Warren Buffett's management principles and, was just, overwhelmed by that book. And I like the rule of 3. And I bored down his management principles to 3 things. And I tell every business this. Now it's up to you to follow, but I'm saying, but you need to follow successful people. Okay?
Absolutely.
And Warren Buffett is pretty successful, right? And so he said these 3 things, which I know you will appreciate, French. First thing, never ever substitute ability for integrity.
Yes.
Rule 1. Rule 2, pay people well.
Yes.
Rule 3, get the hell out their way. So
absolutely,
these are the things that I instill in people who are starting business, because you can make the money and the money can come quick or it can take a little bit of a while, but do you have staying power?
Yes.
And do you have a good name in the community?
Yes.
I don't do business with everybody.
Yes.
I write grants. Oh, I used to. I don't have time anymore. But people would come to me to ask to write a grant. And I said, what do you want the grant for? Well, I want to get some money so I can, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Yes.
Okay. So, and I have that luxury, to choose who I want to work with. That's why I love being in business for myself. But it's work, French. You and I know this.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. It's a labor of love, though, but it's a labor of love.
Look, you are HR, PR, okay, marketing. you are everything until you get the team around you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And so, you got to be adept at everything and still bring in revenue.
But again, if people get that pipe dream as far as being a small business owner, but like you said, they don't understand the process as far as wearing all these different hats. And then because it's your baby, sometimes you even have to teach yourself how to delegate because you're trying to hold on too tight. And that's where the team concept comes in, because you begin to realize that the vision is too big and you can't do it yourself. You have to have a team concept. You have to have people that you rely on. And again, you have to have, going through that process, you got to have a good name, because during the process, you don't want to, you don't want to soil yourself. You don't want to soil your reputation just to get to the end of the road saying, well, hey, I finally made it. But now nobody wants to do business with you because of your past.
And that goes to the first rule of Warren Buffett. Integrity. Start there. Okay. And I'm an old head, you can see my gray hair. And John Wooden, the famous UCLA coach, which is up the street from you in your way. John Wooden had this saying, all is well that begins well.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you got this pie in the sky, and that's wonderful. But after, that 60, 90-day window, okay,
Yes.
and reality sets in, you got to remember, what motivated you to do this. And I certainly hope it was more than money.
Exactly. So I tell you what, we're going to pivot right now because we don't have a whole lot of time. And I know you and I, we can talk all day long, but I want to really get into the subject as far as, a small business owner and capitalizing their business. How do you help them to solve that need?
Well, it is wonderful that we're now in this position. I opened up a second company, Cash for You LLC, and we are business loan brokers. And what that means is we have access to alternative financing, and that's nothing new. It has been out here for some time, but we bought into a system called Business Lending Blueprint, and they gave us access to 10 private financial institutions. I have 10 different loan products that can help a for-profit small business, from line of credit to equipment purchase to working capital to term loan. And then I even have one product that can help with a personal loan. And this is how I use that product. That product is really tailored to the person who's still working, but moving their business to full time.
Okay.
And so
Perfect.
we can help that person get resources to move that business to a full time. And so,
Perfect.
so we are, and we're a nationwide broker. We can offer capital to any business in any state.
I tell most of my clients, don't quit your day job.
Yes.
Because it's a process. Hold on to that thing, but create your fortune at night. So let me ask you this, based on qualifications, because a lot of times small business owners, they have personal challenges, even individuals may have personal challenges in the beginning. What are some of the qualifications that they have to have in place in order just to be considered for some of this capital?
And it's still pretty much traditional qualifications, but I have different lenders who have different qualifications. So let's say I have established businesses who's been around 3-5 years and they're doing well, but they still can't get the loan they need from the bank or the amount they want, because truth be told, 4 out of 5 people are being turned down by the banks. That's
exactly.
Okay. So that individual could get a line of credit. And I think especially of contractors who are working on, government contracts, state contracts, and we can offer that person a line of credit up to $100,000, maybe $200,000, depending on the strength of the individual. And all I need is $10,000, actually $35,000 in deposits. If they have $35,000 in cash deposits going into a cash bank account, into a business bank account for 6 months, that's all I need and an application. Okay. And I can submit them for a line of credit. Now I have others who have less stringent, like 10,000. And then I have one for startups, but it's going to be more on your personal. Okay. You're going to have a 680 credit score. The personal loan I really like for the person who is moving their business into a full-time gig. On a personal loan, all I need is 2 pay stubs, 2 years of tax returns, $50,000 in income, a 650 credit score. I can get your personal loan up to $100,000.
Wow. Now, again, what about, and again, I'm going to ask these questions. I'm going to have Paul Robertson. He's been kind of under the weather the last couple of days, but I'm going to have Paul come in and ask you a couple, because I know he's dying to ask you a couple of questions. But, sure. But what I want to do before Paul jumps in here, how about co-signers?
Yes, and especially for startups. And we have a line of credit called SLOP. And so if they don't have the 680, we can have a co-signer.
Okay. And what about not just the co-signers, but that's what we're running short on time. So I'm gonna let Paul jump in here and let me ask you a couple of questions, and then I'll round it up at the end.
Sounds great. Hey,
so I'm listening to this and I'm just fascinated. And it goes back to the underlying question is, how do we get small businesses started? It's what Tyrone preaches all the time. Don't just work for somebody, work for yourself. It's what you guys preach. It's what I've tried to follow my whole life here. And I always wonder, I always wonder if it's a lack of capital to get started, or they run out of capital once they get started.
It's both.
They're undercapitalized.
Yeah, it's a both and. It's a both and. But I would say, because the majority of businesses start with self-funding.
Right.
Okay, and then those funds run out.
Right.
And so then they go to the bank and they can't get anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And is that why I always hear these startling statistics that something like 75% of small businesses fail in the first 5 years? Is it because they had a bad idea, or they just had a bad business plan? Bad money.
A combination of, but it goes back to a little bit of what French and I were talking about. The problem with a lot of small businesses and why they fail, and there was a book, it's been, I had to go find it, dig it out. But the reason why they fail is because they're good at their service. So they're good at fixing a car. They're good at putting the plumbing together. They're good at, whatever their service is. But they don't know anything about taxes. They don't know anything about HR. They don't know anything about marketing. They don't know anything about branding. And again, when you're a small business, unless you got a network around you, you got to do it all.
Yes.
Right. And that's the part of the evolution. You'll get to the point where it's like you are a great salesman or a great salesperson, and you decide to go into business for yourself because you could sell this product. But yeah, you can sell, but there's no infrastructure in place. So that's the evolution. You start realizing, wait a minute, I have these weaknesses. So let me bring in somebody that can shore up these weaknesses for me so that I can continue to expand and scale and grow my business. And that's a hard step for a lot of people to accept, that they need help. But again, the whole thing is that if the vision that you have should be so big that you can't do it by yourself anyway. You come to that realization that you can't do this alone. And that's a great place to be.
Let me ask you one last question. I know we're all out of time here, but I know you guys I think you're both veterans and serve this country, and thanks for your
I'm a brat. I'm not a veteran. I'm a brat. You know what a brat is, right?
No, I don't.
That's the child. That's the child of a military veteran.
Oh, a brat. Yes. Okay, all right.
My dad did 31 years, 6 months. So I served with him.
Hey, you served too.
You served alongside him.
That's right.
When we've talked about this on the show before, Tyrone's talked about it a great deal of length. Why aren't more vets starting their own businesses? They get cash bonuses along the way, which they should have. They should have assets I don't have coming out of college. I got debt coming out of college. They got cash coming out of the military.
Paul, that's a great question, and it goes back to even why not just vets? Why aren't our kids coming out of high school starting that? Because our education system doesn't teach entrepreneurship.
No, not at all.
So we are failing.
And there's a reason for that too, though. And that's another show. But let me ask you, I'm going to ask you this one last question, and we're going to wrap this up. Microloans. And the reason I'm bringing up microloans is because there was a time when I had first started with a company. I was with Lincoln Heritage Life Insurance. Well, I was with an insurance company. And I'm working this business, and again, I'm a great salesperson, and I'm doing all the sales and everything, but the administration portion was lacking. So I knew that I needed help. So what I did was I got me an assistant. And so, but that was another expense. And so I was able to find this organization that literally gave me a microloan, whereas I didn't even know that a microloan existed. That a small dollar, I didn't even know it. And I qualified right off the bat. So can you explain, or do you offer microloans? And if you do, kind of explain what a microloan is and how it works?
We don't, but there are many lending institutions who do. My favorite are credit unions.
Yes.
Okay. And then in addition to credit unions, there's something called Community Development Financial Institutions, CDFI.
Yes.
There are many set up in many communities, and that's what they're supposed to do.
But they're a secret. They're like a needle in a haystack.
Yeah,
that's where I got my microloan from, a community development center. Absolutely.
So those entities can do it now, but now more banks are doing it, and so you have to go and talk to the CRA officers. And people don't know this.
Okay.
Because they
what's a CRA officer? I don't know what that even means.
I'm sorry, I'm talking acronyms. Community Reinvestment Act. Okay. So that's every bank that's registered with the national banking system has an obligation to put money back into their community. And so they can do microloans to those businesses. Yes. But most businesses don't know that.
They don't know.
And they don't know who to talk to. So you just can't talk to the teller and you can't talk to the person sitting behind the desk. You need to ask for the Community Reinvestment Act officer.
Yes.
And say, look, how are you putting money back into the community? Because I'm so-and-so, and I have this local business and I need a microloan.
Great information. So if my listeners need to get in touch with you just based on what you said, how can they contact you?
Certainly. My phone number, 985-248-9595. That is a text line as well as a direct line to me. You can also Google my name. I have electronic footprint. I have a website, erenesoule.com. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook Business, Rene Soule. You can find me.
And for those of us who didn't grow up in French-speaking parts of the country, how do you spell Rene Soule?
Soule.
So Rene is spelled with one E because that's the male's name. And the female is spelled with two E's.
Okay. So Rene, and then how do we spell your last name?
Soule. So for my military folk, Echo, Roger, Echo, Nevada, Echo, Sam, Oscar, Utah, Lima, Echo.com.
Outstanding. Hey, well, Paul, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Yes. And what I want to do also, if you want to reach out to Rene, you can literally just, reach out to me, go to TyroneFrench.coach, or like I tell everybody, get my app in your hand. It's free. It won't take up any space on your phone. And all you're going to do is text Tyrone French to 36260. I'm going to repeat that. Text Tyrone French to 36260. Get my business in the palm of your hand. If you have any questions or you want to reach out to Rene, just send me an email, send me a text message. Go to my website, go through my contact, my manager, and, we'll get those questions answered for you.
Okay, good deal. All right. Well, thanks for doing it. That takes us up for today.
Thanks for being here, buddy. Appreciate your time. Appreciate the information.
That's our show for this week. Closing the Wealth Gap. The one show, the only show that shows you how to take control of your financial future. Right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OCTalkRadio.net.